certain the impact of Brexit on the UK energy system?
Absolutely, and they said the cost of that uncertainty would have financial costs, which would lead to potentially higher bills, which they estimate would be
could,
500 million.
They didn't say would, they said could.
They said it could. It's the risk that they were analysing, and they've analysed that risk and said 500 million at least. And also when National Grid asked them to look at the positives of leaving, they couldn't come up with anything at all.
Well, one obvious positive is, you say energy prices would stay low under the EU. The EU, the European Commission anyway, wants to raise energy prices. There's no question about that, is there? They're perfectly open about it, and energy prices will go up because of the various EU rules that there are about green energy, etc. So the idea that under one system, if we leave, energy prices go up, if we stay in, they don't go up, that's just false, isn't it?
No, absolutely not. The whole point is the EU internal energy market is about trade liberalisation and competition. That's how we bring prices down. And we, as the UK, are leaders in that model, and we are able to influence it. It's completely wrong to suggest the EU want higher prices. Nobody wants higher prices.
Energy costs are to rise in all scenarios. That's what the European Commission said in May 2013.
But what they are looking at is the costs of having additional sources of renewable energy.
Yeah, now, and those costs affect us if we stay in the EU. That's the point.
No, but the point is, Justin, that we already have the Climate Change Act. We already have high standards. The requests from the EU directives for renewable energy, are only on top of our Climate Change Act. And when the opposition, when the Leavers say our bills would come down because we wouldn't have to adopt these green energy targets, they're completely wrong. We already have the UK Climate Change Act, which was passed in Parliament.
Yes, but we could change our mind. That's the point. You're making an assumption about what we would do if we were out of the European Union, which is effectively we would stick with those rules. We could change our mind.
No, I think you're making an assumption, which is if we came out of the EU, we would somehow repeal the UK Climate Change Act.
Mightn't we?
Well, that's a completely different argument. If the Leavers are saying we should repeal the UK Climate Change Act, they should say so, and then explain how they're going to get the investment, what they're going to spend it on, and how many new coal-fired power stations they might build.
Well, one thing they might be able to do is called not build the Hinkley C, because, but part of you make the point about prices today. Part of the point about prices, we are having to pay these high prices, including the high price that we would pay if Hinkley C is ever paid, because of our commitments to those EU rules.
No, it's not the commitment to the EU rules. It's the commitment to the UK Climate Change Act that was passed unanimously in Parliament across parties. Only had 5 MPs voting against it. The UK itself is committed to clean, secure energy, and the UK Climate Change Act guarantees that. What we want is the EU to do the same, because then we increase competitiveness for energy prices and for businesses.
Quick one on Vladimir Putin. You mentioned today. How much of our gas do we import from Russia?
Very little of our gas we import from Russia at the moment.
So it's not a big problem.
At the moment, but what the report says, and what I would agree with, that in the long term, gas from Russia will play an important part in security in Europe. And access to the European market through the internal energy market is how we keep prices down. We cannot ignore the role of Russia.
I don't understand the link. Sorry to interrupt you on that. Mm-hmm. We import most of our gas, don't we, from Norway?
A third from Norway, about a third from liquid natural gas, and about a third from other places.
Yes, and a huge amount about to be supplied from America, which just started to export gas, hasn't it? And some of it is going to come here. So why is Vladimir Putin suddenly a problem for us if we leave the EU?
Because Russia exports a lot of gas to the rest of Europe. We access our gas through Europe, and by 2030...
Through Norway, most of it?
Yes, well, Norway is in Europe.
Yeah, but it's not outside the European Union.
But inside the internal energy market. Norway is a good example. Norway is inside the internal energy market, so it accepts all the rules of the EU without, of course, being able to influence them.
But my point is it doesn't make any difference whether in or out, does it? We're not. If Vladimir Putin wants to behave badly, he'll behave badly. We'll have to find our gas elsewhere. We're free to do that, and we can do that. And there is a lot of gas around, after all, including all that fracked gas from America.
There is a lot of gas around for now, and by the 2030s, we expect to be importing 3/4 of our gas. But the thing about the gas market is you don't know what shocks and what changes there can be to it. In Japan, after the Fukushima incident, the LNG market for gas went through the roof because it all had to go to Japan. You don't know what strains there are. Putin does use gas as a foreign energy policy, and we need to be sensitive to that and work with our European partners to make sure that they're not able to do that. Working together as 500 million is how we can stand up to him.
On Hinkley Point, will you, even at this late stage, entertain the idea of binning it?
No, we won't. We are confident that Hinkley Point will go ahead. It's a really important part of secure, low-carbon electricity in the future. And investing in nuclear is what this government is all about in terms of planning for the next 15 and 20 years.
It is hugely expensive, though, isn't it?
Well, it depends what you compare it to. Wholesale prices are very low, but if you want to compare it to what it would cost to build onshore wind, offshore wind, or even new gas, it's within the same range. So, no, I don't accept it's hugely expensive.
I'm interested you say that, because we would be guaranteeing a payment well above current wholesale prices to EDF for a period, and an index-linked payment for a long period to come. And that is a payment that individual consumers would have to pay, isn't it? And the point that people make is, number one, that it's too high, and number two, that this is untried technology, that it might not even be built in time, and that the whole thing is just too risky. And I'm interested in how confident you are this morning that those cases fail.
Well, don't forget, we don't start paying for that electricity until it's actually built. The construction risk is not on us, is on EDF. Secondly, who knows what the prices will be in the 2030s and the 2040s? They are low now, but those are wholesale prices. They're not the prices for new construction, and they're not for low carbon, secure baseload. Nuclear is an important part if we're going to have low carbon electricity in the future.
But there are other nuclears. That's the point, isn't it? There are modular nuclear power stations. There are things that can be done smaller scale. That's what people are suggesting to you, and quicker as well.
And they're absolutely right. We are committed as well to doing SMRs. It's not just one nuclear reactor. We're having a whole nuclear plan over the next 10 to 15 years. And SMRs are part of that and are very much supported by the Chancellor.
One of the things that people are concerned about with Hinkley Point, obviously, is whether EDF are going to go ahead and come up, because not only are people suggesting that we can't afford it, they're suggesting EDF can't afford to go ahead and build it. Are you reasonably, people are talking now about May, and the boss of EDF talking about May, are you reasonably convinced, or how convinced are you, that we are going to get a final decision that everyone can see next month?
Well, I'm completely confident that Hinkley Point will be going ahead. The timing is for EDF and the French government to conclude.
But it does matter to us, the timing, doesn't it? Because if it gets put off much longer, given that we know this type of nuclear reactor tends to overrun in its building, that actually we're going to run out of time.
Well, I repeat, we don't start paying for the electricity until they build it.
Yes, but we need the electricity. That's the point, isn't it?
Indeed we do. And so we will always make sure that we have secure supplies. It's not due to come online till 2025, which gives us sufficient time to ensure that we will have secure electricity in 2025 and beyond if there should be any delays, which I hope there won't be.
Amber Rudd, thank you very much.
You didn't frankly have the balls to put country before party.